Alright, so now we're about to begin this drive. We're gonna stop at Trumbull Gardens, otherwise known as the T, the Terrace. You know, some of the more slang words that us locals use in Bridgeport. So now we at this shopping plaza, north end of Bridgeport. So we about to head out now. Honestly, this one is pretty crazy. I mean, they're all crazy, but I would say this one's definitely it's a concern coming through this one. But in the past there's been a lot of violence there, homicides, robberies, carjackings, shots fired, all that stuff. Excuse me. But my biggest concern is actually not even that. I mean, it's really the law enforcement present that's there. State police tend to patrol this area, so I think that's my biggest concern, because there's a stop sign that goes in the middle of the street. It's an avenue. It's Trumbull Avenue, and both sides the housing project is on, and you kind of have to stop right dead in the middle of it. And a lot of times law enforcement, whether it's marked cars, undercover, they're always waiting there, so it can be a little sketchy. I do apologize. I know this camera's all shaky, but the streets in this city are horrendous, so bear with me as we go on this drive. We're in a nicer part right now at Bridgeport. This is Frenchtown Road, north end. We got like they have a lake over here, so associations right here. So it's a relatively nicer area in Bridgeport. I would say it's comes second. North end of Bridgeport comes second to Black Rock. Oh well, there's a deer in the road over here. Just jumped in one of the yards. But yeah, so we're gonna go on this journey, and we're gonna show you all the places. Bridgeport is can be dangerous, but it can be good. I wouldn't say it's the worst. I think in terms of like violence, I think its worst days are behind it. Especially in the 80s, 90s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. I mean, it's not as bad as it used to be. Even in 2010s, I mean, for example, it was pretty bad at some points, but it's nowhere as bad as it was like in the early 90s. There was one time we had like over 60 murders in 1 year. I mean, for a small city like Bridgeport, it's pretty crazy. Having 60 homicides in a city of like 150,000 people. I mean, I'm not trying to make Bridgeport sound like it's this crazy like gangland type of place. I mean, there are worse cities out there, but I mean, it's the largest city in Connecticut, so we're kind of up there. We got excuse me, we got Hartford, we got New Haven. Waterbury is pretty bad. But Bridgeport it's got some real bad places and areas. Yeah, we're still in the nicer area. Actually, to the left of me is the town of Trumbull, so it's kind of like the dividing. Sorry, this camera is so hard to like film with these roads and this damn fucking setup I have in here. Yeah, so we're still on. We got Trumbull on the left and Bridgeport on the right. So this is a very residential, calm, like middle class area. So we're not in the bad zone yet, but we're getting there. We're not too far away. Actually, one time got stopped over here by the Trumbull police. I had tint covers on my license plates. Sometimes they wait over here because again, we have the housing project is relatively close at this point, and we actually can see it looks like it's a pretty good area. I mean, it is usually they'll wait straight ahead from this stop sign, right on the other side of the street, or to the left of me. The Trumbull police, they usually are pretty active in like watching this area. All right, so now we're getting back into Bridgeport. Trumbull's still on the left of me, so but now kind of like getting officially into Bridgeport. Still, this is Chopsy Hill Road, north end of Bridgeport. Still, middle class, relatively decent area over here still. So it's kind of weird how this housing project is like dead set right next to like a middle class area, and then you just like bam, like you just get right into it. And of course, I'm from Bridgeport. I was raised here almost my entire life. I attended schools, one of the worst schools you could say, Connecticut. In terms of education, Vastic High School, and I grew up on the Black Rock and West End areas. So I grew up in the good and bad areas, but no location in Bridgeport is 100% good. You could say for sure. I will tell you that. Even the Black Rock area has some incidents sometimes. So let's not just say the entire city is like this beacon of hope. But of course there is some really great areas in Black Rock, and sometimes crime tends to spill over, but it's just how it is. So we're about 2 minutes out from the first location, which is Trumbull Avenue, Trumbull Gardens, the T Terrace, the T or Terrace, how locals describe it. My father grew up here. I've never really hung around here. I've had friends that were from here, and I've been around here. Actually, it's kind of stupid, but I used to do like Uber deliveries in here. Pretty bad place, but here we go. We're now entering Trumbull Avenue. Looks like there's some activity down here, but I don't think there's too much. Hopefully we'll be kind of just breezing through. So at one point, a few years ago, about almost a decade ago now, it was actually a massive shooting here. I believe 7 people were shot. So it is a pretty dangerous area, I'm not gonna lie to you. There's frequent shootings and robberies, and there's been some homicides here, but the towers are on the right, and like these duplex kind of units are on the left. But yeah, here's that stop sign I was talking about. Usually the local police and state troopers will be stationed around here, especially during like the summer months, but it looks pretty quiet in terms of police and civilian activity, aside from people, of course, here at the someone at the bus stop here. There's a lot of drug activity here as well, but a lot of crime is actually committed by teenagers, unfortunately, but it's just how it is. But we're kind of coming to an end here. Now we're coming to a Reservoir Avenue, so it's kind of like, now it's more like a lower middle class area of the city, and it's actually still borders near Trumbull. As you can see, there's this shopping market here. There's been a lot of shootings, robberies, and an unsolved homicide actually that took place in there. Not a very good place. You definitely want to avoid that. Yeah, now we're on Reservoir Avenue, and we're heading down towards somewhere near, like, kind of like where the north end borders the east side of our city here. Actually, another hot spot on the way, I'll show you. It's called the Sunnyside Motel. It's a motel. There's been numerous, a lot of prostitution goes on there, drug dealing. It's actually known right now as Bridgeport's only hotel, which is pretty unfortunate. Yep, that's that. There's actually been a murder in there not too long ago, and there's frequent crime there all the time. And fortunately, law enforcement, I don't know if they're really involved in that, or if they're doing anything about it, I don't know. But yep, that's just that. Excuse me. But yeah, otherwise, like, a lot of these family, I mean, these are just normal, everyday people in this neighborhood, unfortunately kind of just trapped and stuck with these, levels of crime that kind of, are just like, what's the word? Kind of just like shifting through the city, Oh yeah, there's another spot coming up on our right here. This TIK TOK gas station. There's been a lot of shootings, and I believe also a homicide or two there, if I'm not mistaken. I know there's definitely been one. But yeah, this TIK TOK is pretty bad. Used to go there sometimes, but definitely avoid it. Here's Reservoir Deli. I don't know too much about that. Actually, I used to buy marijuana, weed, whatever the fuck you call it, from there long time ago. Yeah, now this is like with some stores, we have a grocery store at Home Depot. So we're gonna pull up now. I'm gonna show you the sunny side, but we're not gonna pull into the lot, definitely not. Probably gonna be hard to see it, but at the same time you probably could. There it is, Sunnyside Motel. It's on the right hand side right here. I don't think you guys could see it in the video. Yeah, now we're gonna head to the east side. So there's actually no like housing complexes on the east side of Bridgeport. There used to be Father Panic Village, but that was way before I was even born. And that was actually, give or take, it was like the worst housing project, one of the worst in the entire country at one point. Very bad, homicides, drug dealing, shooting. We built new housing there not too long ago. Yeah, it's definitely not a good place. That's to say the least. There's actually some unsolved murders that were never solved and probably never will be. Actually spoke to a local one time, told me that if you actually walk through there was two parts. They rebuilt like some modernized housing there. They just started the other half, like I believe at the beginning of this year, maybe last year, and they still have a little bit of empty space that they still haven't finished. And he said that if you actually walk through the metal detector, that you will be able to find like old bullets, possibly even guns that were just discarded there long ago. Yeah, it's very, very unfortunate. But we're gonna head to the east side, specifically the Stratford Avenue area in Reed Street, which is a pretty hot area of Bridgeport. Also Connecticut Avenue. We'll kind of like graze through that area real quick. And if I haven't mentioned already, again, I am from Bridgeport, been here my whole life. I've been to all these neighborhoods. I've walked these streets, so I am very comfortable coming through here. And I also conceal carry, so I don't find a problem whatsoever coming through these areas. And I do not recommend people go on these tourist journeys on their own, especially if you're not from not like cities like Bridgeport. These are just not good places to really go around and hanging around. You're asking for trouble, whether or not you're asking for trouble from street criminals, from local gangs, from law enforcement, whatever the case is, you are asking for trouble playing around on these streets. So just a little bit of a warning and some advice. And I know the streets of the city in and out. I don't need any maps. I don't need nothing. I know everywhere around here. So, I'm like a local guide of sorts. But now we're on Boston Avenue, and this is like the heart. This street is like the heart of the east side. Boston Avenue and East Main Street. East Main Street has its problems itself, but it's not really. Unfortunately, don't mind me, guys. Probably should have stopped there. Yeah, but East Main Street is like the heart of the east side, but it's got its problems. It's got crime, but it's not. I wouldn't call it like a hot spot. Like when I talk about hot spots, I talk about places where like you can go there and you will very likely get either robbed or shot carjacked or whatever, or there's just high like drug and gang activity. Like that's what I'm talking about. Anywhere in the city you can honestly go, in some places, again, a little safer. North End, parts of the North End, like the far North End, and Black Rock. Again, also parts of Black Rock, but specifically close to Fairfield. You'll be a lot safer. But again, it's Bridgeport. That's all we say it out here. It's Bridgeport. Just expect anything. Yeah, but here we go. We're going down Boston Avenue here. Just crazy out here. Some of these spots are pretty sketchy, but driving past them, it's not that bad. I mean, I've been to some of these gas stations in the past. I mean, yeah, they're sketchy, but the risks aren't as high as some other places. So as you can see, probably can't see, but you will soon see a police officer. So we kind of want to avoid, especially when we film like this, we have like a tripod set up, and we're kind of like really trying to film professionally. Because the last thing I need is being pulled over, and some of these cops will probably, they'll be curious. You can get stereotyped out here for sure. It doesn't matter whether you're, white, you're black, you're Latino. It doesn't matter. Cop will find a way if they have to find, to pull you over. Especially, me personally. And people look at me and it's awful. I've been pulled over before. I've been stereotyped by police. Oh, you're buying drugs, or you are a drug dealer. I drive a Lexus. I'm fair-skinned, so of course it rings bells, especially being in an area that's predominantly African American. You'll get those stereotypes from police out here. Policing has gotten a lot better in Bridgeport over the past decade and a half. Definitely a lot better than it used to be, but it still needs to improve, and just gotta watch yourself. So we're approaching the Bridgeport Hospital area of kind of over here in this it's the east side. We're approaching like the far east side towards Stratford, Connecticut now. So we're gonna make a turn right here. We're heading towards the old Remington Arms Factory. For those of y'all who don't know, Remington, it was a notorious factory. Right here, actually on the right, there was actually a famous murder that happened here about 20 years ago. So just another spot to point out to y'all. Yeah, but Remington Arms was a famous ammunitions factory, especially during World War II. I actually would like, there's only really left is what we call the shot tower. They just demolished most of the facility. But I've been in there when the facility was up, and I will tell you, it's an experience like no other. Very bad. There's been many murders in there, including cartel murders. And there's people living in there, people that are addicted to drugs that are living in there. There's blood all over the place. It's a very bad place. I will tell you that. But yeah, now we're gonna move on. I'm gonna take y'all straight down to, it depending on the time. Bridgeport kind of shifts. Like each year we'll have like a different area that's like this is the spot where all the murders and shootings are. So the Reed Street and Stratford Ave area, for a good few years, like maybe like 10 years ago, were like the spot. Like there was frequent, like sometimes daily shootings, and a few murders of the entire year would take place in this area. Stratford Ave has always been notoriously bad, but we're gonna go down and I'm gonna show y'all. But definitely not my favorite part of the city at all, and when I can, I do avoid it. Sorry, I am tired, but let me bring y'all down to Stratford Ave and show you how how it is. I should actually just probably taken a left here, but it's whatever. We can get here going straight. So after Stratford Ave in like the Reed Street area, I want to take y'all. We're gonna go probably stop back by like I'll say the Greens, Charles F. Green public housing, but we're not gonna go in there because that is really what one of the big hot spots right now. Undercover police and frequent shootings, and the gangs are literally actively out in the courtyard sometimes. Like all face masked up with, sometimes, you know, it's bad. Like, we're not gonna actually go in there. Corridors are tight, very dangerous place. You know, it was easy kind of driving through the T when we went, but yeah, we're gonna be careful with some of these other places. Definitely, for sure. You know, it's really the law enforcement, because you know, there was a lot of undercovers, and again, me just driving through with this camera up like this, just driving, you know, it kind of, it looks hot boy, you know, it's sketchy. People pay attention, notably law enforcement. So, you know, you gotta be careful. You know, not trying to really stick out here. I think we could just slide through this street right here. This is 3rd Street. It's like a little industrial. I don't like these industrial streets because there's like all these nails and stuff like all over the place. But we'll just take it. I think I smacked the camera a little bit. Nah, whatever. Alright, here we go. So we're gonna probably end up on, is Connecticut Avenue that we're on? I hope not. Damn, I think I went the wrong way. I'm over here telling y'all, I'm like, yeah, I know everything about, yeah. Damn, I actually think I went the wrong way. But I think I can cut through. Damn, excuse me. Just recovering from a cold, so, I mean, a flu, so, yeah, still a little off. Alright, this is Baldwin Street. I actually knew a guy who used to buy drugs over here, and actually the house got raided while he was in there. This is a really bad area. It's Baldwin Street. It leads right to Stratford Ave. That's correct. So here we are, Stratford Avenue. The crown jewel of crime in Bridgeport. There we go. Looks a little better. Alright, so now we're going down Stratford Avenue. You know, you got some empty lots here, some abandoned buildings. You know, it's Bridgeport. That's how we say it. Like I said earlier, it's Bridgeport. Newfield Avenue is extremely bad. I actually should take y'all down there and show you. Nevertheless, Reed Street. Reed Street's a little farther down, but Newfield is pretty bad. I think I'm going to take y'all down there, because I think that's where I actually went to school with a kid that got killed over there. It's very bad, and some of these people out here, like, just sitting in their cars and shit with these, you know, real dark tints, real sketchy people, real sketchy characters. Definitely you don't want, you know, Revere Street is very bad too, right there. You know, this is a place where you do not want to get caught after dark walking the streets. You want to be very careful over here, and I am not exaggerating. Yeah, so you got this I-95 underpass. Oh, damn, this place is bad. So yeah, we're gonna go down Orange Street here, and yeah, this place is, again, you know, it's cold out, but, you know, this is a little different in the summertime because there's a lot of people out, and it's bad. Yeah, so now we're going back down Newfield. That's like I said, I wanted to show you. This was a real big hot spot. And Newfield goes both ways, left and right, but I'm going to take you this way right now. This is where, like, the heat used to happen. Like, right here, this corner. This storefront you'll see on the right, homicides. It's M&J Grocery now. A lot of these places change frequently. Yeah, this is Clifford Street. Actually did an Uber Eats ride down there years ago, and the dude literally came at me with a face mask on, like clenching his waistband. So sketchy. Really got to be careful in this neighborhood. But yeah, we're gonna go down straight to Stratford so y'all can kind of see, like, you get the whole gist of what it looks like. Why I say it's so sketchy. Actually, used to have, yeah, this guy is like literally off of something over here on the right, but yeah, you'll get a lot of cops over here. There's be a store over here. A guy actually pulled up with an AR-15, started spraying through the windows, and he actually shot his own hand off during the encounter. But I'm not sure if he killed like one person, two people. I know he hit a whole bunch of people. But yeah, I actually knew the store owner. He actually used to own a store on another side of the town, in the west end of the town. He owned a store over here too. It's called Sunshine Market. Yeah, it was very unfortunate what happened though. It's crazy. Really got to be safe out here. So, you know, you got law enforcement over here. A whole bunch of like bodegas, mini marts. This person's beeping at me for what? Don't know. Yeah, but a lot of like reckless drivers out here and stuff. Just a generally very like shady area. But, you know, given that it's cold out, you know, a lot of people aren't really out right now. So this, I think this is actually what I was just telling you about, the mini market. Place is crazy. This place is all burnt out and abandoned over on the right-hand side. And we're gonna head over back down Clinton Avenue, Connecticut Avenue. And we're gonna kind of go from there. Probably should have taken that turn right there, honestly, but whatever. Alright, so we're going down Florence Street. There's literally nothing here. Abandoned lot. It's a lot of industrial, abandoned industrial buildings over here too. So right over here, you can see this building on, this building right here on the right side. Bridgeport Police Department have like a tactical team that literally operates out of that building, and it's one of those facilities that's like quote unquote in the dark. So it's kind of like a gang, drug, narcotics facility. So, you know, I guess it's well placed because this neighborhood very, very bad. And there's actually a shop. There used to be a club actually coming up. It'll be coming up down at the bottom of Connecticut Avenue. It was actually owned by a city councilwoman who had been operating it illegally during COVID, and there was a homicide and shooting there. So pretty crazy. Bridgeport is definitely a place, I'll tell you that. But we're gonna get through this area, you know. Yeah, so now we're coming up almost at the end of Connecticut Avenue, and I'm going to take y'all next to the Greens, as we call it. These streets are pretty messed up. Okay, so the club that I was just talking about, we just passed it with the shooting there. So now we're coming back out to like I-95, Interstate 95 underpass, to a more like developing area. They're redeveloping this whole area. Call it Steel Point Harbor. So there's a lot of redevelopments that are going on. I'll actually take y'all through downtown. Downtown is pretty sketchy. It's actually, I would say, probably the sketchiest downtown in Connecticut in terms of the large cities. That is like Hartford, New Haven, Bridgeport, and Stamford. Stamford's the best for sure, but New Haven and Hartford, they have their problems. They've had shootings, they've had murders in their downtown, but their nightlife is, they have a lot of restaurants and bars, and, of course, New Haven is Yale, and, Hartford's the capital, but Bridgeport has really nothing. Like, it's dead, and it's a lot of people who are, there's a lot of people that are homeless, a lot of people that are addicted to substances, and some gangs that wander the streets out here at night. In the downtown area, it's very dead. A lot of abandoned buildings, especially towards the edge of downtown. So Bridgeport's downtown has never really experienced that it's never been revitalized like like the other cities in Connecticut. Waterbury's pretty bad too, but Waterbury's like not really a top city in Connecticut. So I never really kind of put that up there in that tier. But yeah, this area used to be all just empty grassland. It used to be actually all homes, and then they knocked all of them down. It was empty grassland for many years when I was young, and then they put they put a Bass Pro here, and now they're putting these condos, and they got this Starbucks and all these little shops here. So things are definitely changing. Used to all be like factories here, like around the edge of the highway. Unfortunately, it actually used to be a homeless encampment under there during COVID, but it was on the news, and they actually took it down. Only to kind of save face for like the politicians in the city, of course. But that's that. So now we're going over into downtown Bridgeport now. It's always road work and all this BS that goes on here. Actually, I'll take it to some of downtown. I mean, it's really what you'll see is what you get. I mean, it's kind of dangerous at nighttime, and it's dangerous in the daytime down here. It's really just again, it's not really a good downtown. This building here actually used to be our only real hotel. It used to be the Holiday Inn, but they closed, and now it's apartments. And then there's our courthouse. Really the only reason why downtown has any life in it. And now we take this right here. Most of these buildings have got some life in them now. A couple years ago, obviously like 6-7 years ago, a lot of this was all abandoned, collapsing buildings. They really put a lot of work into trying to get this back up together. But as now, right after we pass like right here, you start to see you have empty lots, abandoned building. It's an old hotel here. This is a pretty famous hotel as well. These buildings in front of you are abandoned. This is the old Majestic Theater, very famous theater. Been abandoned for a very long time. And then it's all empty lots out here. I mean, nothing was ever really done with it. Very sad, but there's a lot of potential out here, kind of just wasted. So yeah, I mean, here we go now. Soon we'll be approaching the Charles F. Green homes. We're gonna drive by it. We're not, as I mentioned earlier, the narrow alleyways in there, and the fact that many of these gangs are actually actively patrolling the property. We're not gonna get too close. I actually used to go to school with a kid who was a few grades below me that was actually robbed and killed in the stairwell there down by the laundry room. Very, very bad place. It's many unsolved homicides in there. Definitely gotta avoid it at all costs in terms of actually wanting to go in there. So we're gonna brush by that, and then I'm gonna take y'all to the famous Park Avenue and Wood Avenue intersection, where many of the recent, in the last few years, shootings and attempted murders have happened. So here's the Green homes right there. This is essentially it. It's a big parking lot here, but I'll take you. It's a one-way street, actually. Never mind. That gas station is very bad as well. They won't even let customers in there at night. It's got bulletproof glass and doors are locked. So yeah, you just saw the green homes, and that's probably as close as we're getting to that. That is one place I do not mess with, and I don't care how heavily armed I am, and I don't care who's with me, I'm not going in that building. You're asking for nothing but trouble going in there, so do what you will with that information, but if you all ever come here, stay away. Alright, so I'm going to take y'all. This place is a little, I don't know, for some reason I feel more comfortable, even this place has been hotter than, this place has been just as hot lately. Excuse me. But I'm going to take y'all there, and this is Park Avenue and Wood Ave, and then there's the other intersecting streets like Park Ave and Olive Street. I mean, the entire, call it like a middle part of Park Ave, because Park Ave is like broken up into sections. It's all the same. It's all called Park Avenue, but we have a southern Park Ave, which actually is with the university, south end of Bridgeport, University of Bridgeport. Then you have the middle part of Park Ave, and then you have the northern part, which is really good. Another college area. It kind of borders the town of Fairfield too. That's definitely a lot better of an area. But this Park Ave is pretty bad. And y'all, you couldn't see why. Maybe you will. A lot of people I was there actually earlier. I was trying to film earlier, but literally had an audio issue. And it literally guys crossing in front of the car, staring at me. People literally, it was like an open drug market at the time. A whole bunch of people just lined up on both sides of the streets. It's terrible. It's big drug gang, turf, and prostitution area. Very bad. Police are always active over there, but whatever they do, raids on some of these neighboring homes. Whatever they do, it never seems to work. But I do give them at least credit in that fact. They have had many operations where they attempted to kind of correct the problem, but never seems to work. But yeah, we're almost there. This is Park Avenue here. Definitely, it's a colorful place. So here we go. This Gulf gas station right here is where the activity in this street corner. This is one of the most notorious intersections in Bridgeport. Very bad, very dangerous place. There's a couple people chilling over there. A lot of loitering. Definitely a dangerous place to say the least. But yeah, that's the famous park in Wood Avenue. And another place, actually, it came here down here when I was here earlier trying to film. So we got I'm talking too much and distracting myself. Yeah, so we have the this is Wood Park right here. This little park in the middle of the street. A lot of illegal gambling and drug trading goes on here, but it's pretty dead right now. No one's around. There's a whole bunch of people hanging out here earlier. I used to work with a guy who used to go there and do the gambling, but he said that a lot of young kids started coming with stolen guns, and if they'd lose the game, they'd start threatening people, because they used to do dice games and stuff, and he said he stopped going around. It's pretty dangerous. Here's Maplewood Avenue. I used to hang out here a lot as a teenager and younger adult. I will show you probably the worst block on Maplewood. It's Howard and Maplewood. We actually, in Bridgeport, we have these things called shot spotters. So the local police, they don't have to rely on 911 calls, and sometimes, of course, people don't even want to call, and they don't feel comfortable calling. So they can just detect when shootings happen, and this area has had a lot of shootings in the past decade or so, and they have been able to detect these when the gunshots go off, and they were able to respond. So I know it's dark, so it might be a little hard to see, but hopefully you guys can when I stop at the stop sign up here. this is the west end of Bridgeport now. Obviously, I used to hang out all the time. I grew up in this area. So it's like a second home. Black Rock was really the poorer side, I guess we usually will call it Black Rock. There's a couple guys just hanging out over here on some boxes, but they're minding their business, so I guess I'll do mind my business. Alright, so here it is. If you guys look up at the post on the right side of the camera, you'll see all the cameras and the boxes up there. That's the shot spotters. This is Howard and Maplewood. There's a corner market to my left. A lot of gang activity, drug activity, so that's where people congregate, and that's where a lot of the shootings originate from. So as we go down further, kind of heading towards is Maplewood Avenue. If y'all don't know, it'll lead us right out to Mountain Grove Cemetery, which is kind of I think it has its own Wikipedia page. It's like a really old and famous, formally organized cemetery that's kind of laid out in like a grid format. So, yeah, that's straight ahead. So we try to avoid some of these side streets because there's some industrial buildings. They drop a lot of nails and shit. I've popped some tires, so definitely try to avoid to the left of me. So we'll do this. We'll take a right here. Y'all probably get a good. This is the gate that's coming up straight ahead of the cemetery, right there. It's a very big cemetery. It actually has a lot of Bridgeport's wildlife in there. There's been bobcats, bears, coyotes. It's got diverse wildlife in there. We actually have a swamp right in the back. It leads from, it's like we're close to the border of Fairfield now. It's still in the west end now. There's more police officers over here. So it's Bridgeport. It's it's always lit up, you say, But I know we didn't go through the entirety of the city, and I'm only really showing y'all the hot spots of Bridgeport. But y'all can always request. Y'all want me to go to certain areas or whatever, y'all can always ask me in the comments, but we really just go into the hot spots. But now's our last hot spot. Is PT Barnum, or PT, known by us locals. Is the housing project that I used to hang out at as a kid. Many of my friends used to live in there, so and it's actually borders Black Rock. So we're gonna make a drive by on that one. Actually, we'll probably go up a street called Railroad Avenue. It's like a lot of old abandoned factories and stuff. And I used to hang out at the skate park over here. Now it's abandoned, but we'll go up there. So now we're leaving the west side. Black Rock straight ahead, but we're gonna take a detour. I'm gonna go around the back. So this is the old skate park. I mean, it's seen better days. It is completely abandoned, as are many of these buildings on this street, but it's starting to excuse me, trying to build back up. They got this old development right here that's going up. There used to be these old burnt out factories over here, and they actually restored one of the sides and stuff, so they're doing pretty good, I guess. They're doing their best in trying to bring the neighborhood back. Alright. So I think my camera fell. I'm sorry, guys, if that kind of messed up. Just noticed that. Alright, damn, some of these streets are crazy. They need to really put some work into this infrastructure, but yeah, I'm gonna be careful because sometimes law enforcement does wait over here too. As in all the bad areas, they are present, and undercovers are always waiting to catch their next victim. So I'll show you kind of just where the pavilion is, where a lot of street fights and stabbings and shootings have happened. I used to hang out there all the time. Sometimes we'd go there and just be blood all over the place. It's pretty crazy, but that's just So it is. If you could see ahead, you can see the big pavilion, and there's P.T. Barnum. So there's some law enforcement up here. I don't know what's going on. So I guess it kind of deaded my dream of wanting to actually give y'all a good look of it. Stores here on the right. Lots of robberies happen there, so they used to kind of change all the time. But we're gonna stop at the stop sign. There's P.T. Barnum. They number the buildings by numbers, but yeah. And some of them are abandoned actually. Drug busts, fires, but whatever the case is, it looks like there's some law enforcement stuff going on over here. Gotta be very careful. And that's the island over there, right? Wherever that patrol car is. The island is, it looks like they kind of cornered this guy. Probably should have turned around, to be honest, but it would have looked crazy. That's the island. A lot of like old timers used to hang out there. And yeah, I mean, it's essentially that. Now we're kind of like in the not so good area of Black Rock, which Black Rock is like the wealthier of the neighborhoods. So we're in the not so good area. I guess I'll just give y'all a little tour, kind of end it. I'll just show y'all like the best area of Bridgeport, so y'all don't have this stereotype of mind that it's like this terrible place. So I'll show y'all. This, I usually, come up and down this. This is Fairfield Avenue. It's a big street. It goes all the way to downtown. But I used to come here all the time, hanging out here and whatnot. But, things change after a while, Still looks the same. Actually, some of these buildings over here to your right, like right here, used to be abandoned. But, actually, it was a murder in there. A classmate from one of my old schools. She was killed in there, a young kid. This is an infamous strip club. Locals, we look down on it and avoid it. Drug Street that way. It's Monroe Street. A lot of drug activity and scene of a murder within the last 10 years. And this is really where the area starts to get better. After every local knows Krauser's, of course, in Bridgeport. To your left. And here we go. Now we're kind of entering the better area of Bridgeport. This is where like the nightlife is. You got restaurants and bars, and this is Black Rock. Like, we're starting to enter the heart of Black Rock business district now. Excuse me. It's a very diverse neighborhood. Huge on the Irish, Hungarian, and Latino culture, especially Mexican American. Very big area. As you can see, it's kind of lively compared to the rest of Bridgeport. A lot of restaurants and bars over here. Very nice area. And it goes for a little longer until you reach Fairfield. So there's really no turning back if you want to, Fairfield is straight ahead. But I'm going to take y'all, so you can probably see some of the, like the more luxurious houses of Bridgeport. Just so you don't really have this idea that Bridgeport is like, again, like a really, really terrible place. Yeah, we're gonna go through that real quick, and I will, kind of let y'all go after that. Now it's definitely great spending some time with y'all, going through Bridgeport and all the crazy places, but Bridgeport, I believe, is like 13 square miles, so it's only so big. It's not the biggest city. A lot of people. Biggest city in Connecticut in terms of population, of course, but not of land. Bridgeport is it's small. It's just got a lot of people. But this is Black Rock. This is Gilman Street, Black Rock section. Our beach, there's two beaches. There's Seaside Park, which is the biggest, and that is in the south end of Bridgeport. And this is St. Mary's. This is an area where you can likely walk at night and not have any problems whatsoever. Very, safe compared to the rest of the city. This is right on Long Island Sound, some really nice houses, and just a great area in general. So I'm gonna take y'all up here. This is Balmford Street. This is where you kind of get into like the higher elevation, and these are like some really good houses and locations out here. So you will definitely be safe in this area for sure at night. I used to hang out here all the time. Sometimes 1-2 o'clock in the morning, never had a problem in this area. Again, you got some really nice houses over here. Taxes are high in Bridgeport, but again, these are some good houses, and this is where this is like the crown jewel of Bridgeport. And there's some private streets as well, so I guess that's a surprise. But yeah, this is just a really great area in general. The largest and most expensive house in Bridgeport is right here. Just wanna kind of pull over real quick and just give y'all like a little view of it. So that house it used to be actually a Coast Guard Academy. So it is like the largest house. Like everyone in Bridgeport knows it is like the biggest house. They've built some other houses now after Hurricane Sandy on the shoreline over and of course if you go down that direction, you got some other nice homes, and this is just the Bridgeport that you probably didn't expect, but it's a very nice area, very safe and quiet. Now we kind of get down to, this is like the other side of the beach I was talking about, St. Mary's. Now we're gonna, you guys see that they have a gate here on the street. So this is kind of like I guess you could say in a way a private neighborhood. There's a really big mansion behind this gate right here in front of me. You'll see the gate in a moment. I don't know if you can see it. You'll see the gate right there. It's actually, that person is a friend of the Clintons. And they actually hosted a dinner there. I think Hillary Clinton attended it. I'm not sure if it was her or Bill, but, there's some pretty, wealthy people in this section, so. And this street to the right of me is a private street. So go down there and you get caught by law enforcement, you could get in trouble. So and this area is like over here now. It's like, this is really a great area as well. It's like a middle class to upper middle class. Property values are pretty high. We usually just say it's Black Rock. It's just expensive. We know it's expensive. It goes for a little longer. The Ellsworth Street where I had showed y'all earlier was like Krauser. That's kind of like the borderline of it separates the wealthier from the not so wealthy side of Black Rock. Essentially, as you can see, this is a really just calm, peaceful, and it's a generally good area over here, and very expensive to own a home. So it's different from the rest of Bridgeport for sure. But Black Rock is growing. We have some new huge developments that they put up. Actually, I'll take y'all this way. This is I feel like this is probably like an area y'all should see if y'all really want to know Black Rock and the nice area of Bridgeport. Very, very quiet over here. Now this community is very close knitted, so it's not like the rest of Bridgeport. People over here generally know their neighbors and people in the community. So it's very, very good area, and this is like the heart of Black Rock. They call it Harborview Market. So very everyone in the community kind of goes there. We even have a small park too, a few blocks down that way. So it's generally it's a good place. And I will kind of end it by showing you the more recent developments in Bridgeport and what's kind of making our neighborhood, Black Rock section of Bridgeport, kind of standing up. But actually, let me show you also what I consider the worst street in Black Rock. I actually wanted to show you guys this. When I grew up, this was the most dangerous street in Black Rock. And it's close to where I lived. Was really kind of right next to it, honestly. Excuse me. And then we'll kind of just end by showing you like the developments, and we'll go like end there. So now we're back over here, in like the heart of the Black Rock business district. Aside from maybe some petty crimes, people being drunk, sometimes you'll get people that'll come from like bad areas and like loiter, but aside from that, it's generally the bulk of the crime. But the Waldorf Street was the street when I grew up. There was a lot of arsons, robberies, drug dealing. It's actually a one-way street, and it's very like tight of a street, and it's in a not so good area of Black Rock. So I'll show you that, and then we'll just kind of end at like the new developments. So we're coming up on it. It's a one-way street, so we have to go this way, kind of backtracking a little bit. I know we're already almost like an hour in, so I'm not really trying to keep y'all all night here, but I'm gonna show y'all the last of it. So again, the strip club that I mentioned on the right, and here we go down to what I grew up to know as the worst street in Black Rock. Now, there's a lot that definitely has like an eerie feeling to it, for sure. It's not too big of a street, but it's always had a reputation. Definitely doesn't have like that warm and welcoming feeling some of the other streets that we just saw did, but we come up to the corner, and this is like the borderline of the two Black Rocks. This is Ellsworth Street. This yellow house right here has a lot of history. It's a famous house, and this is the street where I grew up on, right here. Right here up on the right side is where I grew up. It's like a lower middle class area. Some duplexes and triplexes and a few single family homes, a mix of different homes. A lot of, it's a rental community over here in this area. And here we go down to Canfield, to this new development. It actually used to be the old movie theater. Now they have turned this into these like luxury apartments, so definitely changed the character of the neighborhood for sure, but I guess it's a needed change, you could say. So as you can see, these huge buildings here, and it's essentially kind of like the new Black Rock, but gives like a city like feeling to it. And I believe that we will end here. So, now we're just, if you take a right at this light, you will end up in Fairfield, Connecticut. And you will go straight into, a middle to upper middle class neighborhood. So, a continuation of the nice section of Black Rock. Again, it was great to spend the last hour with y'all, and I hope y'all enjoyed. This is the section, all the sections of Bridgeport, and the good and the bad. We didn't get a chance to really go to the south end too much, and the north end aside from the terrace, but we kind of went over, I would say, all the bad locations in Bridgeport, and I hope you'll find this informative, and always like, subscribe, and of course comment if y'all have any questions, and if y'all want to see any more videos like this, anything, just let me know below in the comments, and I will see y'all later.